my yarny friends, are you ready for a fun and silly Friday Fun Day project? Well, this is our Silly Monster washcloth. It's super cute, really easy, and super fun. Now, I put this out for Halloween, but these are great for any time. Baby showers, birthday gifts. You could make a set of 2 or 3 in different colors. This one I did sort of in the Beetlejuice vibe with the black and white stripes and the green and purple. But the demo that you saw earlier is also different. And so you can do these in any colors that you want. I think it's even a great stash busting project because you can mix and match your colors, variegated, ombres, whatever you got in your yarn stash, because it doesn't take very much to make them. They measure a 9 by 9 square. And of course, these are made for children, but I think us adults like them too. I just love how they turned out. It's just super cute, super fun, and lots of possibilities for colors and mixy-matchy colors. All right, now you can find this crochet pattern on my blog. And as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. And just a reminder, as you make your washcloths, if you feel like they're not wide enough, there's no fancy stitches, so you can just add as many chains as you want to the beginning to make it wider. If you want it to be taller, you can add more rows here or here and make it taller in order to make your washcloth bigger. So you're going to need a total of about 3 to 3.5 ounces of cotton yarn. I do recommend that you make this washcloth out of cotton yarns. And I just went to my local Hobby Lobby and picked up some Crafter's Secret lime green, purple, orange, and this yellow. And I'm going to be doing the demo the same, only I'm going to mix and match the colors a little bit different using orange and purple and green and yellow. So you're going to need 3 colors. You're going to need about a 1/2 ounce. And then your main color, which is the face, you're going to need about 1 ounce. And that's going a little bit high. So it's a total of about, let's see, 1, 2.5, maybe 3 ounces of cotton yarns. And again, you can mix and match your colors however that you want to. But I do recommend you make this out of cotton yarn. And if you want to go with a softer yarn, that's fine too. But I just really liked it out of this particular yarn, this Crafter's Secret from Hobby Lobby. Okay, we're going to stitch with our H hook, which is a 5mm crochet hook. And then besides that, you just need a needle for weaving in ends and attaching your eyeballs and your smile. And then, of course, a pair of scissors. We're going to be starting with the striped part first. And I'm going to be doing the striping on this one in this orange and this lavender. So I've got my lavender ready to go, and I'm going to start with my orange. We're going to make our slip knot, and we're going to chain 27 chains. And I do recommend that you chain this beginning chain just a little bit loose so that it isn't puckered up at the bottom of your washcloth. All right, so we're going to chain 27 chains. All right, so what we're going to do, we've got our 27 chains. We're going to begin in the second chain from the hook and stitch a single crochet. And then we'll stitch 1 single crochet in each of those chains, working all the way across our row. 1 single crochet in each of the chains, working all the way across our row of chains. We began in the second chain from the hook, and I stitched 1 in each of my chains. So we have 26 single crochets. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to work in the back loops only. Now when you look at your work, you can see there's a loop on this side, that's your front loop, and a loop on this side, that's your back loops. And so what we're going to do is only stitch in the back loop only. Stitch 1 single crochet in each of our single crochets, working in the back loops only. And you'll know that it's looking right and that you did it correctly if you look and you can see that edge there where those loops are that we didn't work in. All right, and so we're just going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of our single crochets, working in the back loops only. I stitched 1 single crochet in each of my single crochets, working in the back loops only. And again, you can see I have that little ridge there where I didn't stitch in my front loops. Now we're not going to chain 1 because we're going to be changing colors. All right, so I'm going to bring in my lavender. We'll snug this down. Chain 1, but do not cut your orange yarn. We're going to work it up the side of our washcloth. And when we come back in and do our trim, we'll cover those places where we carried our yarn. Okay? Don't worry, I'll show you how to do it. All right, so we're going to move our orange yarn out of the way. We're not going to stitch over it. And we're going to stitch in the back loops only again. So we're going to go in these back loops and stitch 1 single crochet in each of our single crochets, again, working in the back loops only. Now our chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so you go right in that first single crochet. All right, and so we're just going to stitch with our color 2, leaving our color 1 attached, and stitch a single crochet in each of our single crochets, working in the back loops only. And again, you'll see that ridge on this side. And there's an indentation on this side because that's the other side where we worked in our back loops only. All right, so again, 1 single crochet in each, working in the back loops only. All right, so I have stitched with my color 2, 1 single crochet in each, working in the back loops only. We're not changing colors, so we'll go ahead and chain 1 and turn our work. And then again, we'll go right in that first single crochet and stitch 1 single crochet in each, again, working in the back loops only. One single crochet in each, working in the back loops only. I have completed that across, stitching again with my color 2, 1 single crochet in each, working in the back loops only. Only this time we did not chain 1 because we're going to bring back in our color 1 and then chain 1. All right, we're going to leave our color 2 attached. We'll just drop it out of the way and we'll carry it up on the side. And that's what I was talking about. We're going to carry those up on the side, and then when we come back in and add our trim, we'll cover those right up with that trim. All right, so now for row 5, we're going to do the same thing. We'll go right in that first stitch and single crochet again, working in the back loops only. The striping part here at the beginning is all worked in the back loops only. And that's what gives us those ridges, so that if we want to use it for really scrubbing and not just for fun, it will work great on pots and pans, bathtubs, and even little bodies. And big bodies too. Alrighty, so I'm just stitching 1 single crochet in each, working in the back loops only in my color 1. I have completed row 5. 1 single crochet in each, working in the back loops only. We're going to chain 1 because we're not changing colors on this row, and then we'll just repeat. 1 single crochet in each, working in the back loops only. There we go. Again, one single crochet in each, working in the back loops only, all the way across our row. So I have completed row 6. Again, one single crochet, worked in the back loops only, all the way across. All right, and all of these rows have 26 single crochets. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat row 5 and row 6 for 10 more rows, alternating your colors every 2 rows so that it's striped every 2 rows. Like with this one, to orange, to lavender, to orange, to lavender, and so forth till you get to row 16. All right, so we have 6 rows done, and we're going to do 10 more rows, repeating row 5 and row 6, alternating our colors every 2 rows. I have completed those 10 additional rows, so that brings us up to row 16. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of your 2 rows of orange, and 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of your 2 rows each of your purple. All right? Or whatever 2 colors that you're using. I'm going to cut off those because we're finished with those. Put that over there. And I'm going to bring in my 3rd color, and I'm using this yellow. I think it'll make a nice pop for the face of my monster. All right, so I'm going to bring in my yellow. And don't worry about all these tails yet. We're going to weave those in, and we're also going to stitch over here where we carried our yarn. All right? All right, now for row 17, we're going to be stitching double crochets, so we're going to chain 3. We're not stitching in the back loops anymore. All right, so we're going to turn our work. Our chain 3 counts as our first stitch, so we're not going to stitch in that first one, and we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of our single crochets across, and we are not stitching in the back loops only. We're stitching just regular double crochets. One double crochet in each of our single crochets, working all the way across our row. We stitched 1 double crochet in each of our single crochets across. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of our double crochets, but we're not stitching in the back loops only. We're just stitching regular row, single crochets, 1 in each of our double crochets across. So again, we're stitching 1 single crochet in each of our double crochets, working all the way across our row. We stitched 1 single crochet in each of our double crochets, and then we chain 3. And that's because when we turn, we're going to stitch another row of double crochets. So we're stitching 1 double crochet in each of our single crochets across. And remember that chain 3 at the beginning of the row counts as your first double crochet. All right, so we're stitching 1 double crochet in each of our single crochets, working all the way across our row. So now I've stitched 1 double crochet in each of my single crochets, chain 1, turn our work, and again we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of our double crochets across. One single crochet in each of our double crochets across. And again, we are not stitching in those back loops on the top portion of our washcloth. So I've now completed that row of single crochets. And now what you're going to do, and again remember, chain 3, because what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat these 2 rows, 19 and 20, for 4 more rows. So you're going to do another row of double, another row of single, another row of double, and another row of single. All right, so we're repeating row 19 and 20 for 4 more rows, alternating our rows. So I've completed that up through row 24, alternating my double crochet and single crochet rows. And you want to end on a single crochet row. All right, so I'm going to cut my yarn, and I'm going to bring in my 4th color, which is my bright green. And what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet across. We're going to single crochet evenly down the side, cross the bottom, and then back up. And then we're going to add those shell stitches for that fun hair. All right. Now, across the top would be nice and easy. Whoops, I put that chain 1 in there to hold that and pull that out. And bring in my green. There we go. And now I'll chain 1. And again, our chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. It's just a turning chain. All right, and so across the front, or I should say across the top, we are on the front of our work, you should stitch 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across. And this is simple because we're stitching in stitches. When we work down the side, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's not hard. You can do it. All right, so I'm just going to continue single crocheting in each of my single crochets across the top of my washcloth. So I've single crocheted across. I'm at the corner. I'm going to chain 1 and then stitch right in that same stitch. And that's going to give us a nice corner for our corner. Now we're going to single crochet evenly down the side. All right, and I really recommend that you try to go in the sides of the stitches and not the holes. So I go through those threads, and this will give you a little bit better appearance. So we want it to be nice and neat. You don't want your stitches to be too close together, but you also don't want them to be too far apart. You want them just to be evenly placed. And we'll work this all the way down to this corner. So I've evenly worked down the side of my washcloth. I'm going to chain 1 and go right in that first stitch. And then we'll just work across the bottom, stitching where we had our beginning chain. And then the other side will work it exactly the same way as we did over here. We'll just evenly single crochet up this side. And then once we get that done and we get the hair put on, then we can come back in and weave in all these ends. So we evenly single crochet down this first side. We placed a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the corner. Then we single crocheted across the bottom. Again, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in this corner. And then we evenly single crocheted up this side. And so I've single crocheted in that stitch. I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. And this is how it should look at this point. Just the trim on it. Now we're going to stitch around and do the hair. So we joined with the slip stitched and chain 1. We're going to chain 2 more. We're going to stitch 2 double crochets in this same stitch. 1 and 2. We're going to skip 2 single crochets and slip stitch in the next. And chain 3. and 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. 1 and 2, skip 2, slip stitch in the next. And this is how we form those little pointy bumps for our monster sort of hair or scales, whatever you want it to be. 1, 2, 3, 2 double crochets in that same stitch, skip 2 and slip stitch in the next. Now I decided to stay with my trim color for my hair. You could change colors maybe to your purple or your orange down here, or even the yellow, or whatever color that you chose, or even a different color for your hair. 1, 2, 3 chains, 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2, skip 2, slip stitch in the next, and repeat. It's just a really fun trim, and I think it just adds a little bit of extra fun to the washcloth to give our monster some hair or some scales or whatever you want it to be. 2, 3. All right, and so what you're going to do is you're going to continue it across the top all the way down to right here where we changed color with our yellow. And let me see, I think that is row, didn't I write down here, row 17? Yeah, because we did our stripes up through 16, and so you're going to do your hair down to the bottom here of row 17. Your bumps, your scales, whatever you want to call those, and stop at the bottom here at row 17. So you can see I did my little bumps all the way to the bottom of row 17. We're going to cut our yarn and weave that in. And I do have some other weaving in to do as well with all my other color changes. And it's real important when you're doing something like this that's going to get wet, go through the wash often, that you leave a little bit longer of a tail so that you can weave that in quite securely. You don't want that coming undone in the wash. All right, trying to get this on there. It's not cooperating. Let's try again. There we go. All right, and what I like to do is I'll come from the side, and it's real important also when you have a lot of color changes that you stay within that color. All right, and I'll do like what I call a loop-de-doo. I don't think that's actually the official term. And I'll just work back up and I'll loop back down, and you do want to try to go through fibers and stitches as much as possible, kind of looping back and forth. And I'll come up a ways and go back, because like I said, this is going to go through the wash and it's going to get agitated, bubbled up with soaps and different things. Although you can also use it as a decoration, but you just want to make sure that when it gets use, it's not going to come undone. All right, so that's one. I have all these other ones to do. Whoops, that's a spider. And then we'll get the eyes and the face on there. Now to make the eyes, you're going to need a little bit of white and a little bit of black, and then of course for the smile. Now you can use yours in different colors. You could make the eyes yellow. You could make the pupils blue. You could make the mouth red, whatever you want to do. You just need a little bit. All right, so let's do the eye real quick. I'm going to put this here so you can see because I'm using white yarn. All right, so we're just going to make our slip knot. We're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to join this into a circle. And again, you can use the magic circle or magic ring if you prefer. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to stitch 11 double crochets in this circle so that we have a total of 12 because our chain 3 counted as our first. Whoops, get that tail out of the way there. And I do stitch over my tail of yarn. That way I can close up that hole so we don't have a hole in the middle of our eye. Alrighty, we do have rain going on outside right now, and I keep hearing a little bit of thunder and the hoping our lights don't blink. All right, let's see. Here's our chain 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, now we're going to pull that string and close up that hole. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch. And now I'm just going to cut my yarn, but I'm going to cut it so I have a long tail of yarn to sew that in place. All right, I'm going to tie that off. There we go. And now here on the back, I'm going to pull that string nice and snug and weave this in. We don't want the center of our eye opening up. All right, so we weave that in. We're going to cut the back string off of there. Before we place it on, though, we want to add that little black pupil. Now, you can make this so it sits flat, or you can pooch it up a little bit if you want to. These I pooched up just by pooching them up and sewing around. But this one I'm going to lay flat just so you can see the difference. But before we do that, we need to add our little French knot. All right, so let's add our French knot. I've got some black yarn on here. And we're going to come up, not right up in the center, but next to it. Leave you a tail of yarn back here. We're going to put 3 wraps on our needle. And we're going to go right next to that hole. Not in the hole, but right next to it. Pull that through. And then we'll cut our yarn. And because it is a French knot, we're going to add just a little bit of a knot back here. All right. There we go. And we'll cut that off. And now what we're going to do is we're going to place this where we want it. Now you can put them in the center. You could put them on this side if you wanted to. I just kind of like them over here. They're just. Now I have already sewn this one on. You can see I sewed it on just a little bit flat. If you want it to pooch up, you just push it in and sew it a little bit closer. Okay. Some people like them poochy, some people do not. All right, so I thought maybe I'd put it on this side just for something silly, but I don't really like it. So I tried it down there. I don't like it. So I'm coming back over here. I like it. And that's what you have to do. Just decide wherever that you want your eyes. All right, and so you're just going to hold it. You're going to go underneath. And the way I do it is I do what I call kind of a basting stitch first. I go in and out the stitches on the edges and just kind of go around it, seeing if I like how it's placed. Okay, I kind of like that. And you can see it's still sticking up a little because it needs more stitches. And so then I start going in like this, and then I'll come back and then go forward, just so that I know that stitch is going to stay on there, or that eye, I mean, is going to stay on there with those stitches. And you may have to add a little more yarn if you don't have enough. But the most important thing is that this is probably going to get played with in the bathtub, or maybe in a swimming pool or kiddie pool or something. And so you want to make sure those eyes are on there nice and securely. And you just keep going around until you're happy with the eyes being on there nice and securely. And you can kind of pooch them. You can lay them flat. Totally up to you. You can even give them eyebrows if you want to. It's totally up to you how you want to do the expression. And then next thing we're going to do is just finish off with a mouth. I'm just weaving this in back here. Make sure it's going to stay put. All right, so now we have eyeballs on our little washcloth monster. And now we're just going to give it a little cute smile. All right, now this one I gave it kind of a crooked V, and I like that kind of smile. So I think I'm going to do something similar here. And again, it's up to you how you want to do your smile. All right, so I'm going to come up through the stitch here. Make sure you leave a little bit back here for weaving in. So I'm straight down here. All right, and then I'm just going to come across. All right. So there's the shape that it's going to be, similar to what I did on this one. All right, so now I'm just going to put the little edge on that smile. And make sure you're going through some of the stitches and not the holes, or it will not, it'll disappear between the stitches. It will not show up. All right, so there's the edge of the mouth. So now I'm just going to go back the way that I came. Going back over it to make it a little bit thicker. See, now the mouth is more seen because it is thicker. That one kind of slipped in there. Let's get that out. There we go. All right, so now we're back up here, and I'm just going to put that little edge on. There we go. The top of the smile. And again, you can do this any other way that you want to. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. Those together. There we go. And now he has a cute little smile. So we're back here. And the key here is you're going to have some weaving in on the back. And so you want to try to have the least amount as you possibly can. I mean, it's going to be there. You can't get away from it. But you want to try to stick with what's there and weave it in. Okay? I need to weave this one in, but then our monster washcloth is all done. So now I have two really fun washcloths. And remember, get in your yarn stash and make them whatever colors that you want to.